different types of investment vehicles, or occasionally talk through different types of geographies. So and it varies by week. But love to get somebody who knows Austin on the call to share about the Austin market and what the opportunities are.
Yeah, and then also one of my investment friend who's based in Austin, and we're trying to buy a property in Killen, in Texas. Killen. But that's like in an apartment. It's a commercial unit, like 12-unit apartment. But that is something that I haven't done any investing on a property before. So this is this is probably it's gonna be my first thing. He found the property. I don't know what the term's gonna be between him and I. That's something that I'm trying to figure that out as well.
Okay. So trying to figure out the numbers on what you're looking for, or what are you trying to figure out?
So he found a property is has really good cash flow. But yeah, I guess my right now what I'm trying to do is I don't know if you have done this kind of if you have I've never dealt with this kind of situation before. Like, is it going to be like 50-50 going in together? Or I don't know, if he found the property, is it going to be more like, is it going to be the syndicator or that kind of deal? Or we haven't talked about it, worked it out, but just because we don't know if the property is going to be like, green light and if it's, worth to go in together. But that's something that we're trying to figure out, and also I'm just interested in your opinion to how does normally people do.
May I ask you a question?
Well,
Yeah.
hold on, Roger. Hold on 1 second. So Roger, Don, what I'd say is that in general, the person who finds the property and presents it should create the terms when they show it to somebody else, because that eliminates confusion. I think that, I'm going to talk today, my topic today is about looking at property, but there's certain value for finding the deal. There's certain value in organizing the deal, vetting the deal, researching the deal, certain value for upfront money, certain value upfront for financing. And so if you find the deal, you need to set your value for that part of the job at that point. So I'm a real estate agent. Generally, when I present a deal, I'm going to get paid a commission, and I present it to you, net of my commission. If I'm going to present you a deal and expect to get paid on top of that, which sometimes I do, I would say, this is the deal, and I'm charging a $20,000 finder's fee, so your net price is this. So when you present with a deal, you should see all those numbers laid in, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I guess he wants to go in together. So we're trying to, I guess that's one question I need to ask, like what kind of term is going to be. That's like the next step for sure.
And what's his relationship to you?
So one of my close friends' friend, because I think I spoke with you about, about my situation. I am having, just because I have a company and I don't have a regular W-2 jobs, and just getting a traditional loan has been a little bit challenging. However, I have a good credit. I have a good I have a down payment, and I have a chunk of money here as well as in Korea. So I'm trying to invest, but that's why I reach out to my friend, and friend's friend is a realtor in Austin, and I think he wants to go in that was my objective. I wanted to go in on a property together, but that's something that I just need to figure out with him about terms.
Yeah, I like the idea of going in with somebody who has their money on the deal too, right? They have skin in the game, so they're going to present you something that's valuable to them rather than just a commission check.
Right.
So yeah, well, good luck with that. If I can help you get the terms, I'd be glad to look at it for you. So good.
Awesome. Thank you.
So Happy New Year. Here we are in January, guys. Second week. 1/26th gone already. These years go by quickly, and I want to kind of get everybody's attention to think about something that one of my coaches, Tony Robbins, says, we overestimate what we can do in a year and we underestimate what can be done in a decade. And the reason why is we let the year go by quickly without making progress consistently. So when you think about, we're up and running. The game started. This is the regular season. Last week, the season started. We need to be up and running and moving. And the time for thinking about, getting ready, talking about, going through your goals, your plans, what you're going to find next week is 10 million investor, speaker, realtor people are going to talk about different goal setting programs and such to make you feel comfortable for not getting started. But the time for getting started is started already. I was watching a YouTube video, not for the content, but more for the motivation of a guy who was a big real estate investor over the last couple of years, saying that based on the values, he's pulled out of the market. He stopped investing. And the reason he said he was that he was looking at a lot of properties and wasn't finding anything that fit his criteria. And I want to share with you guys, I hear that regularly. Who feels that way or has heard that I look at a lot of properties, it's hard to find good deals? Who's heard that? So
now,
equivalent of that.
Not to interrupt, but if I can follow up with my question that I had. Listen,
Roger,
Bill.
Roger, hold on. Hold on. Okay. So here's what I want to say is that I can't find a deal is like when a real estate salesperson says to me, I call and most people don't answer the phone. Okay? Most people don't answer the phone. Or I call a lot of people and most don't want to buy a house or don't want to sell a house. That's true. Most people don't want to buy or sell a house. See, the business we're in is like we're diamond miners. And I say this regularly. If I gave you $1 billion valued diamond mine, would you complain to me about how much dirt you had to remove? Right? The people who have diamond mines that are worth billions of dollars sift through tons of dirt for grams of diamonds that still have to be processed and cut and polished and all that stuff and sold. And so we in real estate, this is the greatest opportunity ever to make money in my career. I'm still making money. Honestly, I'm not even working that hard. I'm not working hard I did last year. I told myself I would. I'm struggling. Habits are hard to break, and I'm working at it. Working harder than most I come across. But my point is, there's deals being done every single day. Not enough inventory, that's because somebody else sold your house. Deals are too expensive, that's because somebody else bought the property you could have got last week. Because there's deals being bought every single day. If you're a wholesaler, there's deals being bought and sold every day. You know, as I tell people all the time, in our MLS, in a good month, there's 11,000 sales. And in a bad month, there's only 7,000 sales. How many do you need to make a good living? 1 or 2? As a wholesaler, 1 or 2? As an investor? So when I heard this prominent YouTube influencer with hundreds of thousands of viewers, he said, I used to look at about 100 properties for every one that I bought. He goes, now I'm too busy to look at 100 properties and I can't find enough. Aha! What's the clue? He's too busy to do what he used to do when he was successful. He was too busy to follow the formula that worked. And so what I'm saying to all of you and all of us and myself too, the number of deals you have to look at to find a good one is the number of deals you have to look at to find a good one. Your job is to do that productively, try to lower the number and get it done as productively as you can. And if you do, you will make a fortune. And if you want to come up with an excuse as to why it's too much work for you, go back and watch TV and let the rest of us make a fortune. But I'm going to tell you here, not for any other reason, I'll make money off of any of you. I don't charge any money for coaching. I'm not selling you anything. Some of you have referred me business. I'm glad for that. But just because I want to help you, it's why I do this. It is going to be tough to make a lot of money. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to seem like more work than you think it will until you've done it and you look back and go, that was as hard as I thought it was. Because you got better. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Wish you were stronger. Make yourself better. Make yourself stronger. That's real estate. Take responsibility for the results. You want somebody to take care of you? Go get a job. Go to the post office, fill out the application, hope they call you, get a job, hope you get a retirement. Good luck. Nothing wrong with that. But real estate is for people who are taking responsibility for their finances, their income, and their lives. And you got to get up and go to work on a daily basis at whatever you do. Whether you're a realtor, investor, wholesaler, you invest in property, you got to look at a lot of deals. Maybe you have to fly out of state. Maybe instead of one meetup a week, you're on 3. One of my favorite coaches currently is Grant Cardone. Who's familiar with Grant Cardone's 10X philosophy? All he says is set your goal 10 times higher. You'll either achieve it or fall short, but either way is better than where you are. So I'll say to you, you need to get into action. And if you don't have a lot of problems right now in your real estate, it means you're just not doing enough. As a realtor, if you don't have problems in transactions, as an investor, if you don't have problems in transactions or wholesaler, it just means you're not looking at enough deals. Simple as that. I'm here every week to help you look at more deals. So if you have a deal that you want to pitch, which all of you should have, send it to me. I'll put it on here. We can walk through it. You have an area that you want to present to people, send it to me. I'd be glad to walk people through it. I want to make this a forum for us to work together. But here's the thing I want to leave you with. You want to buy or sell real estate and make money, you got to look at a lot of deals. Now, if you're up to that, to playing at a higher level, say aye. Out loud, let's hear it. Let's get committed here. Aye.
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 The more you participate, the more money.
Aye.
Okay? And if you're not, you can turn it off, put it on mute, turn off the camera. Maybe I'm entertaining, maybe something else is more entertaining. But this is about making some money. This is the time right now to make a lot of money in real estate. I'm here to help you 100%, okay? Okay, Roger, you had a question.
I have 2. The first is that, I take notes so that I don't have to ask you the question again. I hit the record button and it said I have to ask the host to give me permission to record.
I don't let other people record this, but I do have it on YouTube. You can see it afterwards on YouTube if you want to replay it.
Okay, so I go to your YouTube site and this will replay?
Yes.
Okay, second is I had a property, $700,000. The bond on the executor was $60,000. I don't understand why it was only $60,000 for the bond when the property is at $700,000.
Okay, so that's a probate question.
Yes.
Right? So you're saying is in a probate case, the judge required a bond of $60,000, not $700,000. Be glad to look at the case in particular if you want to send me the information. The judge has the discretion to make a bond from 0 to whatever. The judge can just do whatever the judge wants to do.
Okay.
The rule is required because the higher bond costs more money. It's like an insurance policy. But you only need to bond the money that they want to protect. So maybe there's only $60,000 of equity, or maybe there's only $60,000 of creditors. If you're the only heir, maybe they're not worried about you losing your money, but they're worried about some creditor that was owed $60,000. Creditor could include the state or could include the IRS for taxes. So I'd be glad to look at the case. If you want to text me the case number, we go through it in detail. I can take a better guess. But in general, on probate cases, the one thing people have to understand is the judge can do whatever the judge wants to do. Okay?
Okay.
Great. Okay. So let's see. Got a text from Melissa. Hey, Melissa, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys all doing?
Doing better now. Nice to see you. Real Property Management. Thank you for being on the call.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I drove by, I went on to an appointment. I saw a property in distress, completely boarded up. It looks like it was maybe 8 to 12 units, might be worth looking into, but I didn't see any type of postings like it's change of management or anything like that. So might be a good deal for somebody looking for a steal in Playa.
So people, so it's the play area, 4310 Inglewood. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I literally snap it on my phone as I'm driving by because I'm like running to appointments all over the place to meet owners. So apologize if the address might be wrong, but if you actually like look on Google on the street view, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's just completely fenced up, boarded up in a great area. Got a couple other ones that I drove by that look like they might be a flip and fix and short sale, but I got a couple of things that I found. And I'm like, oh, that might be good for my group.
So 4310 Inglewood Boulevard. It is just west of 405, north of the Marina Freeway. A little rougher area, having sold property down there. And she's saying it's boarded up. So who knows? If they're renovating, they got everybody out, and they're getting ready to renovate, or they're looking to sell. But for an agent or a flipper investor, you might want to take a look at it. 4310 Inglewood Boulevard, LA 90066.
Yeah, I'm looking for a couple, like through my phone right now, on a couple different properties that are in distress. So again, if you do street views, you'll see what I'm talking about. But anybody who's interested, please take advantage.
Well, this is a great resource for you guys who do driving for dollars. Property manager, right? So she's looking for some of the same people you are. The person who just needs a property manager, she could be that. And those who need to get money or sell the property would be leads for you. So feel free to talk to her about that. So thank you.
That's right. Thanks, everybody. Good to see y'all.
Great. Who else has a question, problem, or challenge we're going to talk about today? Carlos Ortiz. You're muted. You got to unmute yourself.
Out here in the city of Bakersfield, California.
Are you bragging or complaining?
No, just that we're out here working hard. Bill,
Good.
when is your probate Zoom call take place?
I do a call every Thursday at 4 o'clock p.m. Pacific time on specifically probate, which is of interest to investors and wholesalers, as well as realtors. So that's my area of expertise. Though because I do probate listings, I work regularly with investors. I oftentimes get listings that are suitable for investors to sell, and I also go to court and represent them on purchases. So probate's a great place for a great opportunity for. In fact, let me just pitch you guys a property that somebody might be interested in. This was a little more expensive. Well, before I pitch this property, anybody else have any questions or challenges they want to share with the group? No. So here's a property you guys might want to look at. This is the kind of thing that I find regularly. Let me bring it up on the shared screen. You guys see that?
Yes.
5819 South Sherborne in 90056. So this is 3-bedroom, 3-bath. This is a probate sale. So what this means is somebody, this area, just so you know, is like just south of Slauson, just west of La Cienega, in Ladera Heights. I think you would call it area Ladera. Yeah, Ladera Heights. Really nice neighborhood. This is where they have like a street parallel to Slauson, and then you go south. Some of those houses have really nice views. This one is kind of angled the wrong direction, but nice neighborhood, all nicely kept. This area's exploded in the last couple of years. So here's what's interesting about this property. If you're a realtor, you would look at this and you would say, oh, it's listed for 1,375, right? And for sure, if you're a user, a prospective owner of the neighborhood, great neighborhood to live in. I have several friends who grew up here, actually, this neighborhood. You would say, well, that might be a little high for the property. It's been in the market for a while, but it's an escrow. Here's what I can tell you I know about the property. The people who bought it paid $1.2 million and is scheduled to go to court on the 15th which is Friday. And if you show up and ready to bid on this property, you can bid and might get it for 1.260, which is obviously a nice discount. Even though it says pending, it's still available. Now, one of the things I can say about this is the best practice for an agent would be to list the property at the bid price. They didn't do that. To me, I would call that a mistake. I'm not here to judge this agent. I don't know them or her from anybody. But what I can tell you is I look for these kind of anomalies because this property would sell for easily 1.26. It'd be a line to buy the property. And there's also room to fix it up. It's good size, 2,562 square feet. And it's on a nice size lot, 8,167, common for that area. Has a pool in the backyard. You may or may not like pools. And inside, I'd say it is, I don't know, it's emptied out. It's not tenant occupied. It's clean. I think I would describe this as dated, right? Dated cabinets, shag carpet, but in older, lower end. This area, this was appropriate. Now this is improved a little bit, but I'd say this is a neighborhood that, when it was built out in the 50s and 60s was, very modest middle class, and it's become a very high income area. This is a really, really desirable area. And also what's nice about this particular neighborhood, it's so close to jobs, so close to Slauson and Sepulveda and the freeway on-ramp. So anyhow, again, not for everybody, but if you know somebody who's looking to buy in this area, here's a property that if you were looking at properties, you were a realtor, you would say, wow, it's 1.375 is already pending, not available. And I'm telling you that you can move today or tomorrow because we got to be ready by Friday. Odds are pretty good. They could buy it for 1.260 500. And if you're interested, if you're an investor or buyer, come see me directly. If you're an agent and you have a client for it, let's talk and let's split the deal and work on it together. Be glad to help you walk you through the process what that would look like. And this is something I do regularly. I buy about one deal a month like this for investors that we fix and flip. This is unusual. Normally the probate properties are thrashed and need to be fixed. This one looks to be in pretty good move-in condition. You might want to update it, but it looks to be in move-in condition. Okay, so questions. Somebody wanted to, I couldn't get you in time. Sorry about that. Anybody have any questions on this property or anything else?
Yeah, this is Christy. I'll share my video. Hi. Why is it pending then? And why is it still technically for sale? I don't really understand that part of it.
Sure. And Christy, are you an agent or are you an investor? What's your role in real estate?
Both. I have a real estate license. I'm trying to be a redeveloper. And I actually do property management. And I'm looking for investments myself. So all of the above.
Wow. Okay. So, got it. So, why?
But I am interested in flipping. That's like the point why I'm interested in this, because it does look like a great property.
I call this a lipstick flip. I think you could buy this. Buyers who this property went into escrow, I'm going to guess months ago. I'll look it up while we're talking. But this was on the market. But when it came on the market and it's advertised as a probate, a lot of buyers agents don't bother looking at it because it's so long, the process, and the buyers may not be willing to wait out that long. And that property came on the market October and was actually on the market for, looks like, it can't be, October 7th? Probably relisted October 7th. Yeah. So relisted on October 7th. It had been in the market. No, that's right. October, and then it went to escrow in December. And it's been sitting in, waiting for court confirmation since December. And what happens is this property, if you were to buy it, in fact, here's the history of the MLS on it. So if you were to buy this property in October when it came on the market, you would know that, number one, it's a probate. You don't know what that means maybe. Two, subject to court confirmation. The truth is that most of these that go through get delayed once or twice, and it could be months. And so I don't know the status of this particular one today because I don't have a buyer for it. When I have a buyer, I do the research on the case as well to see if it really is ready to go or not. Because sometimes you get excited, you want to buy the property, you get your cashier's check, you show up, you find out it's been delayed. My job as the agent is to try to assess that risk before the court date. In probate, there's two basic types of properties in probate. The vast majority get sold without court confirmation. They're just like a regular sale. The estate lists the property, different forms. Maybe they have to notice the court they're going to sell the property. But other than that, it's basically looks like a regular transaction. So that happens to about 450 properties a month. 50 properties a month need what's called court confirmation. For whatever reason, there's a dispute, multiple errors, the estate isn't bondable, they don't have good credit, a lot of possible reasons. They make technical mistakes. And for about 10% of the probates in LA, what that means is they put the property in the market, they get under contract, and that's why it says pending. Pending isn't exactly right. It's really active under contract because the court has to approve the sale, both that buyer's sale, and then anybody can walk into court that day and offer what that guy paid plus 5% plus $500. That's the formula. 5% plus $500. So they bought it for 1.2. You could pay 1.260,500. You have to show up with a 10% cashier's check. So if you're going to bid 1.260,500, you have to show up with a check made out for $126,050. Has to be made out a certain way. I'll spur some of the details. So you have to know what you're doing ahead of time, or else you're going to make a mistake and not get it.
Well, so how often is it that someone like that comes and swipes it from the buyer?
There you go. That's what I do. Now you can look at it as swiping it from the buyer, or you can look at me as the guy who helps the estate get the money that the listing agent left on the table. Because the buyers want to pay 1.2, but I help the estate get 1.26. They should be happy. Now, go ahead.
Who are you actually representing the state, or is this just a listing you said, oh, this looks like an opportunity for me to go approach the estate owners? Or like, I don't get your role.
On this property, my role is, if you're interested, I'd be glad to represent you and take you to court and help you buy it.
Got it.
That's what I do. So I often find one property that I like, and I present that to investors like you and say, if you want to buy it, I think it's a good deal. I think it's a real good deal. The court appraisal was $1.5 million.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'll check it out.
So if anybody's interested in that property or properties like that, let me know. I'd be more glad to show you what you can do to make some money. And this is obviously this is big money, right? $1.5 million is not to be trifled with. It's a fair amount. Any other questions on this property?
Not on that property. My one question, can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Listen, I got everything solidified with the DRE and
Roger?
Yeah.
Hold on. If you have some personal issues, we'll talk about that offline. This is a group call we're doing right now.
Okay.
Got it. Any other question on this property? Anybody have any other? I have another one I can show you guys. Is this of interest to you guys? Looking like this? Okay, so let me show you another one. Two or 311 Karen Circle in Carson. This is lower price point. This one is listed at $551,750, which in this case, the original buyer paid $525, and this is your bid price. For a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,650 square foot house in Carson. This one shows as active. So you can see this agent is trying to get people to come out and buy the property, which is the proper approach. Rather the other one, in my opinion, it's almost like they want to keep it from being seen. This one, they're actually put it on the market to give you a chance to see the property. Now, on this property, there is no other photos. There's work needed, rehab, flooring, roof damages. So this is more of a fixer where you really have to be a contractor come in and fix things if you're willing to do that. This house, I believe, fixed up and cleaned up would easily sell for $600,000 in Carson. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1650 square feet. And the lot size is almost 7,000 square feet. So then you add in the opportunity for an AUD or ADU or whatever. So this is again a court over. The other one I think is a better deal. This was a lower price point. Okay. Any questions on this?
It's funny that you mentioned that the realtors these days are hiding a lot of the properties. I've come across that pretty often where I just see an ridiculous price, because you can tell it's like grandma on the outside, so you have to assume same on the inside, which was pretty unique about your previous deal because it looks like it was pretty well maintained. But I am coming across quite a few that are in, kind of strange zip codes that normally you would see on the higher end, and they're kind of like a little bit under, and even then they've sat for 60 days and they've decreased $20,000 and $50,000. So I just think it's interesting how they are hiding it in a sense, and not showing exactly the property. And I guess this is the reason, so they can get what they want out of it.
So yeah, I mean, and I got a question on this property again. The key, this is from Joanne. In this case, the list price should be the price you could bid on it. There's no reason to list it for more than the minimum bid. The lower the price of the list, the more people see the property. So when the agent lists the price for over the minimum bid, it just tells you they're not really trying to get people to see the property. There are agents who will list it below the minimum bid, which is misleading and frustrating, but at least it shows they're trying to get attention on the property. But at a minimum, it should be listed for no more than, and in my mind exactly for, the amount that a buyer could pay for it and buy it.
Hey, Bill, I have a question. A couple weeks ago, you were speaking about court confirmation versus non-court confirmation, I believe. How does that notation play into the scenario? I'm just curious to see, trying to connect the dots.
On which property? On this Carson or the other one?
Either one. I just know you mentioned for us to look for one or the other during this process when we're starting to learn it.
Oh, okay. So what I was saying there is, when you go in the MLS, this is an MLS. I've already done my research to find these. I believe as a realtor, Andrew, you're a real estate agent, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So as a realtor, you should go in the MLS and search for all the properties that either need court confirmation and or all the properties that don't need court confirmation. And all the ones that don't need court confirmation, really, they're like any other property. And yet, if you go into YouTube, there's a hysterical training at an office. I don't want to make fun of the other company, but their initials are KW, where the trainer says, if it says probate, just skip it. It just says skip those properties. Rather than train them and say, well, if it says no court confirmation required, why would you not at least look at it? In a market with tight inventory, you should look at everything. If it's tight inventory, you should be looking under all the cracks and crevices, right? It's like when I'm hungry, there's nothing in the house, I'll look in the back refrigerator and I'll look in the freezer, right? When my wife has a nice leftovers of some roast beef or something, I'm not going to look too far. We as agents complain about tight inventory. We should be digging the cracks and crevices. One crack or crevice are probates that don't need court confirmation. They're like any other listing. These would pop up if you looked for properties that require court confirmation. Now, a little more work on your part, you'd have to research it. And in this case, you can see, in fact, if you go back to the Carson property, again, I don't think either one of these agents are doing a great job. This one says, this home is a probate requiring court confirmation. Why not put the details here? Court confirmation sale, January, whatever. If you're interested in buying it, call me. I'd be more glad to help you. right? When I have listings, I want people to be interested to buy it. I'd like to have a line out the door of people trying to buy my property, right? That's your job as a listing agent. And there's no photos. Now, it could be hard. Maybe his judgment is no photos because I don't want to scare people off. But if it's an investor's, bring your hammer and tools, investor's dream, well, we know that in his work, why not show pictures of what it really means? And to this point, I would say, this is another area where oftentimes agents are hiding the property. I had one time an agent who had no photos, but the front of a condo. And when I called him, I said, why don't you have pictures? He said, the pictures, I'm sorry, my bad, let me back up. It wasn't in the MLS. And so I asked the agent, well, why is it not in the MLS? Because I called the attorney says it's listed. I said, it can't be listed, it's not in the MLS. Well, it is listed. Well, it turns out the agent didn't know we no longer can list properties not in the MLS. And so I said to him, well, why is it not in the MLS? It's such a mess inside, I'm not allowed to post it on the MLS. Well, that's nonsense. You get a picture of the outside. You get a picture inside of the mess if you want. That helps investors decide how bad it is. In that case, it wasn't even that bad. It was a mess because when the people moved out, they opened up the drawers, took what they wanted, threw the rest on the floor. There's trash everywhere, broken glass everywhere, broken drawers everywhere. But there was no broken doors. There was no broken windows. There were no roof leaks, no window leaks, no plumbing problems. That's not an investor's problem. That's a trash out. We literally trashed it out. It was ready to sell. So again, look at the descriptions of properties, do your research. Try to get in and look at them because oftentimes the money is made in this business. Seeing when they say investors dream, bring your hammer and tools and no photos, if you can find out what it looks like in the inside, not every deal, again, going back to my beginning, not 100 out of 100, but 1 out of 100, you're going to find a diamond that other people miss. And for that diamond, you get paid $15,000, $20,000, $50,000 or more. And the property where the guy said it was so bad that he couldn't put in the MLS, which was nonsense, that property, we made $120,000 because it was perfect for the MLS. We trashed it out, sent in Molly Maids, sparkling clean. It qualified FHA financing for a condo. How's that? So the money is in the extra research. The money is in the extra step. And whether it be looking at more than 100 properties, 110, 120, or looking at 100 consistently, or digging deeper, that's how we get paid. That's how I get paid. Now, you're an investor and you find a deal like this, has some questions, call me. You find a deal with some probate here in LA County in particular, but I've got probate agents now. We're building out our network nationally. That's my goal for the year is to build it out nationally. But throughout Southern California, call me. If I don't have the answer, I'll find somebody who'll get the answer for you if I can. So this is meant to be a call. We guys bring problems, challenges, issues, and we work on them together. Okay?
I have an opportunity.
Dave Weinerman, welcome to the call.
Thank you. I apologize for being late. Just got stuck in another meeting far away.
We just waited till you got here, so we can now go on with the meeting.
Sure you did.
This is really
everybody waits for Dave.
This is like Dave Weinerman's world, and we all just live in it. So everybody say hi to Dave.
No. Wait a second. It's my wife's world, and I'm privileged to live in her house. So, but you know what? I came in late, and I do apologize for. I don't want to hog up too much time, but Christy, I think it was. Is it Slatcher? Is that how you pronounce it, Christy?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. You were talking a little bit, and it just kind of dawned on me that I thought maybe I would, what I haven't done in all the time that I've been coming to these meetings, is I share one of the properties and maybe the model that we work within that might make sense to you, Christy. And Bill, is it okay if I, share my screen and
yeah.
Okay, so the next question is, okay, share my screen. So anyway, so just before I do that, Christy, what we do is we develop properties in and around Southern, Los Angeles area. Beverly Hills is our office, where our office is that we used to go to under other circumstances. And we buy undervalued properties, single and multifamily homes, typically between 15 and 30% under value. And we add some value, either some, update in square footage, an ADU, or some combination thereof, and updating, kind of kitchens and bathrooms, kind of, the buy and flip model that a lot of people are doing. The difference is that we work with individual investors at a modest entry price of $25,000, and we share equally in the profit. We actually take on about half of all the dollars that are required for each project through investors, and then hold on to the other half for ourselves. So anyway, I thought I would, again, if Bill, you're still willing to let me share my screen, I will share a property that we're still working with outside investors upon.
Yeah.
And
So your
How do I
company does the rehab then too? Like, do you have a construction company, or do you just work with other contractors?
We actually have the whole, the whole conveyor belt, if you will. We have front end partners that help us in finding and acquiring properties. For instance, one of my partners, good friends, is a CPA in a big firm in LA, and he's involved in a lot of stuff like what Bill is doing. A lot of challenged, estate situations. Other reasons people need to, dispose of property. There might be maybe someone is getting a divorce, or they're moving. They got to, move somewhere for a job or something. All kinds of reasons prompt people to, unload properties for various reasons. And we are lucky in that we're able to close pretty quickly on those properties. And the people that we're in our network know that. So on the back end, though, so we have the front end covered. We get these properties under value. On the back end, we have the conveyor belt working very well for us as well, in that we have a number of strategic buyers that work with us very closely, and they love our projects. They've been working with us for many years. And so we oftentimes will have our projects sold before we even complete them, have a deal, in hand with our strategic buyers, because they love our deal flow. And Bill, so how do I clicked on share my screen, and then I couldn't get to, maybe I should just open up the deck on the property first, right, Bill?
Well, first you have to share first. I've shared it with you, so.
Okay.
While we're waiting, I have a question, Bill. So like now, after COVID, how do you expect what the housing market will look like in 2021? And do you have different strategy in 2021 after COVID compared to before?
So I'm going to try to avoid getting into a political discussion, just because all that's so poison right now.
Yeah.
But I'm a businessman, and my job is I have to make that assessment for myself, and then I have to also implement that, right? And so I would say to you that I'm very concerned about California's short and long-term economy. I'm very concerned about rental properties and tenants and the law and how that plays out. But there's still great opportunity. I'm in business still. And so my strategy is to make sure that if I find something, that we have an exit strategy that can happen within the reasonable time that we can assess. So like this property I just showed you, I like it because if you're in the business of fixing and selling properties, I think you could be in and out of that one in 90 days. And I wouldn't want to speculate. I wouldn't want to be leveraged and speculate for 2 or 3 years on a property like that. It would be, I think things are very volatile. That concerns me. It's not so much up or down, but the pace with which things can go up or down. So if you're asking me, what I would say is, I would be very careful not to, I try to minimize risk, limit risk to what's knowable as much as you can. And I think that means keep your timelines as short as you can, keep your financing with Nexus strategy. If you're going to get a hard money loan, then you better be able to get out in about half the time, because you don't want to get to where the hard money loan is due and you're at the end of the time. And with tenants, we have on the line, attorney, and I have attorneys who love buying properties with tenant problems because they, if you're an attorney, they kind of get paid to solve the problem themselves in a sense. But as a layperson, I wouldn't want to take on any real legal tenant problems or quiet title problems because I just feel like those things can drag out. And I also am very interested in helping people discover investment opportunities outside of California. So on this phone call, I'd love to find a realtor from Austin to come on and pitch properties to somebody like you, Don, because California has a lot of money, but I don't think we have as much investment opportunity as we should. There's still plenty, and I'm so busy, I'm just exhausted. I'm not slowing down. I'm working as hard as I can, and I need to exercise more and get better sleep because this is the greatest opportunity of my career. But I will say that there's a lot of opportunity right now. But I think a lot of the opportunities outside of California for long-term tenant cash flow. Here in LA, there's a lot of fix and flips, a lot of people who want to buy property. So that's kind of my thinking. I don't really get
no
paid
buy and
to,
hold, Bill.
in my opinion, but
You're not buying and holding, Bill, right now?
no.
Okay.
I would never. Now, I will say that I'm very invested in the company I'm with is a stock traded company, and I've also invested money in the company because I'm a very bullish on my company. EXPI is NASDAQ traded. I was given stock at 9.25 and bought stock along the way, and today it's selling in the 70s. So I work in there every day. I have a lot of information about what they're doing. I believe in it. So my extra investment money, probably an unreasonable amount of money, is invested in EXPI stock. I'll just pitch that for anybody who's interested. And my wife today, it's so funny. My wife today said, "Oh, we should invest in Bitcoin." It just dropped, I think, from $40,000 to $25,000, and that didn't go back up again. Our stock has outperformed Bitcoin over the last year, so I'd much rather be in my stock than in Bitcoin. Okay, Dave Weineman, take it away.
Hey, thank you, Bill. So can everybody see my screen?
Mm-hmm. Looks like a list of
So
documents.
this is a picture of the property. This is a multifamily property too. So there's one unit above.
Oh, we're on the wrong window.
Yeah, wrong window. We just see the list of
We're
documents.
in your recents folder.
Oh,
You need to
wait a
stop
second, you
sharing
are.
and then click to
Thank you.
click on what you want to share.
Okay, so I'm back to you guys. Thank you so much. What was suggestion? So forgive me for being a little bit inept here. I am a good guy though.
It's a good thing you have kitty porn up or anything. That would have been embarrassing.
Yeah. So I just clicked on share screen and went to that.
Which screen you show? Like I have three
Okay,
screens.
pick that screen. Okay, there's that screen. I'm on that screen.
Okay, let's do this, Dave. How about why don't you send me a copy next week and I'll do this for you?
That would be fine.
Okay.
Not a problem there. Or I could figure it out by next week for sure.
That's another option.
I usually have who with me.
I think having
my wife.
Corbin with you would be always good. Always good to have your son with you.
Yeah. He's a little more tech savvy, so forgive me. So you know what? I'll just go through some of the details. Maybe we can go through it next week, or I can go through a different property next week.
Let's go through next. I like the visual. I think it's really special when you do.
Okay, I agree. There you go. Fair enough. All right.
Okay, good. So anybody else have any properties to pitch you can want to share with us? Any listings you want to move or off market properties you want to offer on, or no?
Just like Roro wrote to everybody. Hi, Bill and everyone. What do you think about Palmdale and Lancaster area as investment to buy 2 to 4 units?
So Palmdale, Lancaster, I would say are in my career, Palmdale and Lancaster are among the more volatile areas for investment. And I think that the main reason why, if you think about Palmdale and Lancaster today, where the market is good is because people can get financing. They get FHA financing, put down 3%, 5%, or conventional financing, 10% with low rates. the rates have been coming down nonstop for years and years and years and just bumped up a little bit. So the challenge of Palmdale and Lancaster is very interest rate sensitive. Now, if you believe that the economy is going to continue on a path of growth that's stable, that our government will be at least as reasonable in deficit spending going forward, then I would say to you, okay, then as long as it cash flows, why not? But the problem is people tend to buy properties based on comparables based on the market. And if interest rates go up, the values go down, you can be caught on the wrong side. So I think that Palmdale and Lancaster are good rental markets. And I would say that unlike the last cycle, there's not as much overbuilding like there was last time in Palmdale and Lancaster. So if it cash flows, sure, lock in your rate. Be careful that you don't get locked into a contract. And this is one of the risks. You can get into a purchase contract to buy property, waive your contingencies. But if your rate's not locked in and rates jump up 1, 2, 3%, let's say 1% would be the nightmare scenario, you're going to pay more monthly and it might eliminate your margins. So I guess to summarize, I would say as long as it cash flows, I would do it. But I'd be careful about buying something just based on comparables. Anybody else have any input on Lancaster Palmdale?
I had a quick question about the cash flow.
Yeah.
Does the homeowners association, how do we factor that into cash flow?
Yeah, you got to factor that in. You got to factor that into your monthly expenses. And I think that
Expenses, okay.
I think you have to put in reasonable costs for maintenance of the property. You have to put in property management, or have a property manager, or you're doing it yourself. Then you got to factor in that cost of time and effort. You have to have a little bit of a reserve for long-term maintenance of a property. So you can't buy it just because it breaks even with the mortgage and the taxes and the homeowner association dues. It needs to have enough money to cover the other expenses as well when you buy rental property. Now, maybe that means you have to put a little more down. Maybe instead of 10% or 20%, you put 30% down to get that cash flow. Okay, I would do that. Because what you don't want to do is be caught short when people, properties can be like dominoes. You start, you fall behind, you lose one, you lose another, you can't refinance, you lose the rest of them. So I would say as long as it cash flows to your requirements, yeah, I'd buy Palmdale Lancaster, but I wouldn't buy just on flipping something because somebody else had bought it and the comparables were, that. I think the market in Palmdale Lancaster for rental will be good in that our population in California is going to continue to grow, and Palmdale, Lancaster are lower price areas that people will gravitate to.
I have a question about.
Okay, and thank you, Melissa and Bill. Anyone else with insight on Palmdale? Anybody else? Oh, Roro didn't like my answer. Anybody else have insight on Palmdale or Lancaster? Roro, sorry, man, you just get me.
Yeah, I don't know, Roro. I've had friends that have invested over in that area, and they right now are telling me that it's getting very bad out there in terms of crime, and the homeless, and just some kind of negative things I've been hearing about that area, even though they are trying to develop. But they said it, basically it used to be very clean and safe. They're saying we don't even feel like this is our area anymore, and they're looking to move. So this is from friends that are investors and that own houses out there. And they're like, we're wanting to sell because we want to get out.
Yeah, there are a lot of people scared in California. It is when I drive down Washington Boulevard or Venice or Culver to the beach, which are really nice areas, it is shocking how many homeless people are on the street. And more and more I see them on the shopping centers and in front of stores. I'm a pretty big guy. I'm pretty comfortable physically, but I imagine women, smaller women in particular, it's got to be pretty intimidating to go to a market with people like that in front. And I think over time that affects the economy and it affects the neighborhood. But that's everywhere in California. We're going to have, I think one prediction I'll say is I think we're going to have more crime, not less. We have more people, the like it or not, agree with them or not, the incoming administration says they're letting a lot more people. I don't know where they're going to live. I hope they all buy houses. I'd love to sell them all houses, but it doesn't really work that way.
Well, they can't always afford that, unfortunately. And that's what we're seeing a lot of is that, I think a lot of owners are calling me kind of in tears and that they have beautiful properties in Venice and Playa del Rey, and they're just like,
Yeah.
I never have an issue renting out my property, but a lot of the tenants are telling us, that are vacating, they're like, the homeless is a problem. I can't live down here. And because they're historic buildings, you can't build up security gates to block it off to protect the tenants. So it's kind of interesting. Like you might find that you're going to find some nice properties in Venice and Playa del Rey that they are like, I can't do it anymore. It's sitting vacant. I can't get a tenant in there, or I'm not going to live here anymore. So you might find some great deals.
Yeah, I think you had the courage and to deal with it. I think there's people who are stronger in dealing with tenants. My experience is long-term owners tend to be very sympathetic to the tenant's story. And I think that new owners will come in oftentimes and say, hey, you've got 5 people in an apartment that's suitable for 2. It's not about being a mean person, but there's health violations going on here. You're not allowed to live like that. And new owners will get the tenants turnover and maybe improve the income of the property. So, hey, I got to wrap up here because I have a call right after this one. I want to tell you all thank you for being on the call today.
Thanks for having
I
us.
hope it wasn't too much of not too hard, but I really mean to kind of wake everybody up. I think it's really important. This is a opportunity of a lifetime. Whether it's good or bad, this is the other thing I want to say. When people talk about the real estate market being bad, that's an opportunity that somebody's still trying to sell. And all of us on the call can benefit from whether the market's going up or down. It has nothing to do with us. Our job is to get in the middle between a buyer and a seller, and we make some money. And if you're an investor, the fact the price is going down is your opportunity to buy. You want to buy when other people are selling. That's when all the riches in real estate and the stock market are made. So don't take my comments to be negative on the career or the profession. As a Californian, it's sad to see the homeless. As a Californian, it's sad to see the poverty. As a real estate broker, I'm selling houses either way, and it's been a great market for me. I'm here to help you. If you need help, call me, text me, email me. I really appreciate you guys all so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you.